Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're unpacking something that, honestly, sounds like it was pulled straight out of a glossy spy thriller. But it's actually a very real, very immediate shift happening right now in the tech and intelligence worlds. We're talking about agentic AI intelligence fusion. We're going to look at what happens when artificial intelligence stops just crunching the numbers we hand it and starts autonomously fusing together human intelligence, signals, and administrative data to build real-time models of the entire world. It's a pretty mind-bending reality, and as we'll see, it brings some absolutely incredible capabilities, but also some deeply hidden systemic dangers.
Just think about that for a second. For years, AI was basically a passive tool, right? You gather data, you put it in a database, and you ask the AI to find a pattern. But these new agentic systems, they do not wait to be asked. They autonomously task their own subagents to go collect data, parse it, and correlate it across massive continuous streams. They generate their own hypotheses and then actually hunt down the information to prove or disprove them. It's a huge leap in situational awareness. But the core issue we need to explore today isn't about whether this tech exists. It does. It's about control, legality, and reliability at scale. Are we actually ready for the consequences? Okay, let's dive right into this. Section 1, the agentic AI shift, moving from passive tools to proactive agents.
To really grasp this, we have to look at the old way versus the new way. In the classic intelligence pipeline, the process is neat, it's linear, and it's directed by humans. You collect the data, you process it, you analyze it, and finally, you disseminate the findings. Humans are the bottleneck, sure, but they're also the safety valve. Well, the agentic AI reality completely destroys that old pipeline. It replaces it with a self-reinforcing inference loop. The AI maintains a persistent, ongoing model of the world, and if it spots a gap in its knowledge, it autonomously retasks its own data collection loops to fill that gap. It's incredibly powerful, for sure, but it becomes fundamentally dangerous when the quality or the legality of that data is uneven.
Which brings us to a much more serious issue. Section 2, the privacy illusion and the death of anonymization. Because this powerful upgrade comes with a massive, unresolved privacy crisis.
Let's walk through these massive privacy risks, because the old rules simply do not protect us anymore. First up, mass inference. Even if a system is specifically designed to avoid storing personal identifiers, modern AI can infer exactly who you are just from your behavioral patterns. Then you've got inevitable function creep. A system built to detect, say, serious national security threats almost predictably bleeds over into behavioral monitoring for HR, immigration, or routine policing. And re-identification? You might think a dataset is safe because it's pseudonymized. But when AI fuses open source intel with metadata and human reports, anonymization is basically a joke. Finally, these systems tend to overweight digital signals and underweight human nuance, leading to the automated misclassification of entire groups of people.
All of those risks culminate in one absolutely crucial concept: derivative surveillance. This means your privacy is being violated without the explicit collection of any sensitive fields. The AI doesn't need your name or your social security number or your direct GPS coordinates. Through behavioral and metadata correlations, the AI recreates your social graph, your location, and your habits from incredibly weak signals. Your privacy is just derived away.
But what happens when those signals aren't just weak, but intentionally manipulated? That takes us to Section 3, amplifying false signals, and the security threats of turning autonomy against itself. So the crucial point here is if adversaries figure out how to inject fake open source data, manipulated traces, or compromised human intelligence into the system, the results are catastrophic. And this is vastly more dangerous than your classic misinformation. Why? Because the system doesn't just quietly consume this bad data and store it in a folder somewhere, it actively acts on it. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how that nightmare scenario plays out. It's a terrifying runaway train effect called false certainty amplification. First, the agent AI encounters some poison data and overgenerates threat confidence. It thinks, wow, I found something huge. Second, it autonomously, recursively tasks more collection on this false positive, literally sending out subagents to hunt for more evidence. Finally, because it is specifically looking for evidence to support its own flawed hypothesis, it creates a self-justifying narrative. It builds a massive, highly convincing report about a threat that entirely doesn't exist, all without a human in the loop to pull the emergency brake.
Now, when you have systems operating autonomously at this scale, we crash headfirst into international law. Let's look at Section 4, the global governance clash, borderless AI versus bordered laws. You know,
Agentic AI naturally wants fluid, distributed compute to work properly, but our legal systems assume rigid, bordered sovereignty. Just look at this jurisdictional fragmentation. The EU has strict GDPR limits. The US relies on sectoral laws with big intelligence exemptions. China enforces state-centric data control. When an agentic AI autonomously reaches across these borders to fuse data, it creates massive legal exposure at every single step. Plus, there's the whole ambiguity of derived intelligence. If an AI infers a profile based on local data, does exporting that inference count as an illegal data export? Right now, there is zero global consensus.
Which leaves us with this glaring accountability gap. If an agentic system autonomously tasks multiple subagents, fuses cross-border intel, and produces a flawed decision chain that actually results in real-world harm, who is liable? I mean, is it the model developer? The agency that deployed it? The autonomous agent itself? Our laws are completely unprepared for multi-agent distributed decision causality.
All right, moving beyond the legal nightmares, let's talk about the practical realities. Section 5, the hidden cost centers, why these systems often turn into massive financial black holes. You might naturally think that automating intelligence saves money by replacing human hours. Actually, scratch that. It's the exact opposite. Agentic intelligence systems are orders of magnitude more expensive than classical analytics. Why? Because they require continuous, real-time inference instead of just batch processing. They require massive multi-agent orchestration and huge redundancy just to have verification agents constantly checking the work of the primary agents.
And honestly, the compute cost isn't even the biggest problem here. The real drains are the hidden operational costs. Normalizing incompatible datasets, building massive legal compliance teams for every jurisdiction you touch, running continuous audit systems, and perhaps the biggest operational drag of all, triaging false positives. Because these agentic systems look at everything, they increase alert volumes dramatically. Humans have to scale up just to triage the massive amounts of analysis data the AI is generating. In mature deployments, the governance and operational overhead often cost just as much as the engineering itself.
All of this builds to our climax today. Section 6, the ultimate strategic threats, specifically the epistemic threat. What happens to human reasoning when we over-rely on machine synthesis?
This is a concept you absolutely need to know. Epistemic collapse. This is what happens when we lose the ability to verify truth. When you have multiple AI agents working together, they can inadvertently cross-validate each other's errors. Agent A makes a mistake, Agent B uses agent data and confirms it, and boom, you have an automated consensus hallucination. It is structurally exactly like a social media echo chamber, but it's happening at machine speed inside a highly classified intelligence system. And because the system presents such a beautifully articulate narrative, humans start blindly trusting it, even if the underlying signals are weak. Dissenting human analysis just gets completely pushed to the side.
And historically, once we deploy technologies like this, we never really go back. We experience surveillance normalization. The system incrementally expands its scope, it reduces political friction over time because, well, people just get used to it, and fundamentally, it shifts our baseline expectations of what privacy even means. We just end up accepting derivative surveillance as a normal part of living in the modern world.
To bring this all together, I want to leave you with this really powerful quote from the source material. Agentic AI applied to intelligence fusion isn't just an efficiency upgrade. It is, quote, a structural change in how inference, surveillance, and decision-making propagate through systems. The operational tension we are facing right now is absolutely massive. Technically, we're converging all these intelligence streams into a real-time reasoning loop. Legally, we're navigating fragmented borders. And operationally, we are scaling ambiguity far, far faster than human oversight can track. Which leaves us with this final, genuinely provocative question. If we deploy systems that autonomously hunt, fuse, and reason, and they generate outputs so complex that humans can no longer meaningfully audit them, are we actually building the ultimate intelligence tool, or are we simply surrendering our reasoning to the machine? It is a question we need to answer before the system answers it for us. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope it gave you a really powerful framework to understand exactly what is at stake here.